a man comes forward. He is embarrassed and stammers. But I am moved by what you say of my wife. I did not know. Have you no eyes or intelligence? Yes, I have. Why do you not make use of them? Shall I clear them? You've already done that, my lord. But I love her, you know. The trouble is that one gets used to and one thinks that it is quite all right to exact too much because the other one is more gentle than we are. Do not do that anymore. You are always in danger with your work. Be not afraid of storms if God is with you. But if there is injustice in you, be much afraid. Have you understood? More than you have said. I will do my best to obey you. I did not know. And he looks at his wife as if he saw her for the first time. In the episode at Magdala in the house of Benjamin's mother, chapter 184 of the poem of the Man God, Jesus gives us a lesson for how husbands are to appreciate their wives and perhaps how couples generally are to appreciate each other. So I shall begin reading. He stops at a little house from which a little boy comes bounding out, followed by his mother. Woman, will you let me go into your kitchen garden and rest there until it cools down a little? Go in, my lord, also into the kitchen if you so wish. I will bring you some refreshments. Do not trouble. It is quite enough for me to stay in this peaceful garden. But the woman offers him some water, mixed with I do not know what, and then she wanders round the kitchen garden, as if she were anxious to but dare not speak. She busies herself with her vegetables, but it is only a pretence. In actual fact, she's paying attention to the master. But the little boy annoys her because every time he catches a butterfly or an insect, he shouts and thus prevents her from hearing what Jesus is saying. She gets angry and gives him a little slap, and he shouts louder. Jesus, who was replying to the zealot who had asked him, "Do you think Mary is upset because of it?" saying, "Much more than you would think," turns round and calls the child, who runs towards him and stops crying on his knees. The woman shouts, "Benjamin, come here. Do not disturb the master." But Jesus says, "No, leave him. He will be good and will leave you in peace." He then says to the boy, "Do not cry. Your mummy did not hurt you. She only made you obey, or she wanted to make you obey. Why did you shout when she wanted you to be quiet? Perhaps she is not feeling well, and your shouting was annoying her." The boy, with the incontrovertible frankness of children, which is the desperation of adults, immediately exclaims, "No, she's feeling all right. She wanted to hear what you were saying. She told me, but I wanted to come to you. So I was deliberately making a lot of noise so that she would look at me." Everybody laughs, and the woman blushes. "Do not blush, woman. Come here. You wanted to hear me speak. Why? Because you are the Messiah. No one but you can be the Messiah, considering the miracle you've worked." By the way, the miracle that has been worked is in the previous chapter, where due to the as yet unconverted Mary Magdalene and her dalliances with different men, she's caused two men to fight over her, one a Roman to stab the other a Jew in the heart, and that Jew would have almost certainly would have died had it not been for Jesus restoring him to health. So to continue what the woman's saying to Jesus, "And I was anxious to hear you. I never go out of Magdala because I have a difficult husband and 5 children. The youngest is 4 months old, and you never come here. I have come, and to your house, as you can see. That is why I wanted to hear you. Where is your husband? At sea, my lord. If he catches no fish, there's no food for us. I have but this little kitchen garden. Can it suffice for 7 people? And yet that is what Zacchaeus would like. Be patient, woman. Everybody has a cross. And then Jesus tells her about how, she basically talks about shameless women, and women like Mary of Magdala, because this is the poor part of Magdala that Jesus is in now. He's come from the rich part of Magdala, where he encountered Mary of Magdala for the second time, as it happens, and where the almost homicide happened. Jesus speaks to the woman about how such women as Mary of Magdala have no peace deep down, they have no children to dream about, they have fearful dreams, and then they have a lonely old age. This, by the way, does not apply to Christian women of our era, because such women can be consecrated to God and can consecrate themselves to God, not necessarily even in holy orders, just in themselves. So it's no longer necessary to have children to be a complete and fulfilled person, as it was in the days prior to Jesus. And so we go forward then to where Jesus has told the parable of the mustard seed and how it grows into this great bush and the birds can nest in it. That's the context. That parable was told in Magdala, in the house of the mother of Benjamin, the little boy. And having talked to her about how much her own position is better than that of women like Mary of Magdalene, and having told that parable, the woman at the end of the parable goes off to collect the children, her other children who are with her own mother, and she comes back with them and a crowd of other people. Marie Valtorta says, in the meantime, the woman comes back with 6 people, and behind them many more. They must be about 50, all poor people. And Jesus speaks to them, and in part of the speech, it's actually here where he gives the parable of the mustard seed. But I have gone through that earlier in another video, so I'll just skip to the part which I didn't record. Jesus says, love and you will be loved. Love and you will bear with one another. Love and you will not be cruel by wanting more than what is lawful from those who are under you. Love and sincerity to obtain the peace and glory of heaven. Otherwise, as Benjamin said, every action of yours accomplished, lying to love and to truth, will turn into straw for your beds in hell. I will not say anything else to you. I will only say, always bear in mind the great precept of love, and be faithful to God the truth, to the truth in every word, deed, and sentiment, because the truth is the daughter of God. Let the work of bringing yourselves to perfection be continuous, as the seed continuously grows until it is perfect. A silent, humble, patient work. You may rest assured that God sees your struggles, and he will grant you a greater reward for overcoming your selfishness, for holding back a rude word, for satisfying a necessity without being ordered to do so, than if fighting in a battle you kill the enemy. The kingdom of heaven, which you will possess if you live as just people, is built with the little things of every day, with goodness, moderation, patience, with being satisfied with what one has, bearing with one another, and with love, love, love. I'll just pause for a moment. It puts me in mind of Therese of Lisieux, who's now a doctor of the church. If you read her, the story of her life, the story of her soul, you'll know that she talks about this, that the key thing to be a saint is to work on the little things of daily life, not thinking of the spectacular martyrdoms, but the minor everyday actions that we engage in. This is the way to sanctity, and she emphasises love all the time. So it is very interesting that she, a doctor of the church, is effectively echoing Jesus' own words. That really is additional testimony to her being raised to the altars and that being wholly justified, and to her also being a doctor of the church, because her teaching is one that is relevant to all people at all times, and that is the essence of why some saints are raised to that status of being doctor of the church. So continuing with Jesus' statements to this crowd of people. Be good. Live in peace one with the other. Do not grumble. Do not judge. God will then be with you. I give you my peace as a blessing and thanksgiving for the faith you have in me. Then Jesus turns to the woman, that is the mother of Benjamin, saying, May God bless you, especially because you are a holy wife and a holy mother. Persevere in virtue. Goodbye, Benjamin. Love the truth and obey your mother. My blessing to you, to your little brothers, and to you, mother. A man comes forward. He is embarrassed and stammers. But I am moved by what you say of my wife. I did not know. Have you no eyes or intelligence? Yes, I have. Why do you not make use of them? Shall I clear them? You've already done that, my lord. But I love her, you know. The trouble is that one gets used to and one thinks that it is quite all right to exact too much because the other one is more gentle than we are. Do not do that anymore. You are always in danger with your work. Be not afraid of storms if God is with you. But if there is injustice in you, be much afraid. Have you understood? More than you have said. I will do my best to obey you. I did not know. And he looks at his wife as if he saw her for the first time. Jesus blesses and goes out onto the little road. He resumes walking towards the country. And there the vision ends. But it is quite interesting that that is probably a story that can be told of men across the world and women across the world as well. It just so happens that in this scene is a man who has not appreciated his wife and all that she's doing for him and his family. And there's the interesting point Jesus makes, because this man is a fisherman. And so if God's with you, don't be afraid of storms. But if there's injustice in you, be much afraid. And that applies to everybody in any activity. If we're behaving in a just way, if we are practicing Catholicism, not just in the outward forms, but inwardly, then God will be with us. And we need not be afraid of dangers. Doesn't mean we are invincible, but it seems to imply that we will get supernatural protection until God considers it the time for us to be allowed to come to harm for whatever supernatural, whatever inscrutable reason he has for letting that happen, or for it being our time to go. But certainly, if we are not making Catholicism an inner thing, then we cannot expect any special help from God. And with that sobering thought, I shall conclude this video.